blind. You're trying to escape from here, aren't you? I want to see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off.
Hello and welcome to round number 12 of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. For Race First, I'm Matt Houston, so the final round of the season here. It's been a good one. Really appreciate you guys. We've really grown the series here. I was talking to a couple of the organizers, a couple of sponsors in the series here earlier today, and things have really been growing in this particular BMW Car Club National Capital Chapter season. So we're up to about 22 cars per race at this point, so pretty strong field. We're here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Used to be called Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, but I'm dating myself a little bit because I'm pretty sure WeatherTech has been the sponsor for maybe not quite a decade, but probably 5 to 8 years. So it's been a little while, but sometimes I just call it Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Really a classic track. Just about anything you can think of has driven here over the years. I was having a look. IndyCar runs here now. They had a brief hiatus where they weren't running here, but they are back as of, I believe, 2 years ago. They were running their finale here, and they will be back in October, and then running Long Beach the following weekend after that. So Long Beach there in a familiar Los Angeles area there. So we've got a familiar face there at the top. Christopher Hill back on the top. And where he's been, Steve Ficacci knocking him off last week, though. Steve's currently in the pits. Really strong last week. 2 weeks ago at Road Atlanta, he was also pretty strong, but had an unfortunate incident on the first lap, set him back, but he came back. He's newcomer here in the series, and he's showing off that he's pretty quick as Hill enters the pits. We've got about 12 and a half minutes left in this qualifying session. Then we'll be having a 30-minute race. Tonight we're going to be doing, as far as I understood, if I'm reading everything correctly, we will be running a standing start at the start of this one, which is going to be interesting. Let's see. Treakle is about to go on a lap, so let's go on board if we can with Darren here. So this is into the turn 1 called the Andretti hairpin. That is turn 2 and through to turn a right-hander, turn 3, no name there. This is a fast right-hander, turn 4. And although this does curve a little bit, sometimes we have corner numbers. That one was not a corner number. This is turn number 5, left-hander. This starts you on the uphill run up to turn 6, which is another fast left-hander. This will be onto what is called the Rahal Straight, and up to a really notable corner up here called the Corkscrew at the top of the hill. Really hard under the brakes, Darren Treakle is. Kind of a chicane at the top of the hill called the Corkscrew. Really fast now on to downhill section called the Rainy Curve. That's turn 9. And over to the left now onto turn 10 as a right-hander. And that is a really quick lap here. This is final corner, turn 11 here at Mazda Race, or WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And that is start-finish once again here as Darren takes us on a lap here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. So really good place to be ending the season. Like I was saying earlier, IndyCar was going to be finishing their season here too. So on board with Darren here. Let's do a shout out, pay some bills here. So Darren drives the Treakle Insurance car. So Treakle Insurance is an independent insurance agency offering auto, home, business, and life insurance. They teamed up with Hagerty Insurance to provide collector car coverage as well as race car and track day coverage. So really thankful for them for helping put on the series. And other sponsor you saw momentarily, I had on the screen there, is the Beltway Brewing Company. They've got a special thing going on here tonight, so you better listen to this one. So thirsty for an award-winning local craft beer? Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV. From award-winning IPAs to sours, traditional styles, and even craft hand seltzers, Beltway has something for everyone. Order directly from beltwaybrewco.com for contact-free delivery right to your door, or swing by for their contactless pickup from their tap room. So here's the part you want to listen to. BMW, use the promo code BMW Go Fast to receive a 10% off of your first order. So give Beltway a follow also at Beltway Brew Co. on their social medias. They're on Twitter. They have quite a few subscribers. I think I looked them up just this past week, and I was like, wow, they've got thousands of subscribers, I think it was. So really good job by Sten and the crew there. Sten is out there. Let's get him on to the... There, he's just in the pit lane. So that's beltwaybrewco.com. Use the promo code BMW Go Fast to receive 10% off of your first order. So check that out. I think we got quite a few viewers that might be coming in from that particular group there. Stan, I think, was passing around the stream link here tonight. So welcome to everybody out there if this is your first time. And of course, if it's your, your second time, multi-time viewer, welcome back. So Christopher Hill is currently our provisional pole sitter. Fikachi is in P2. Rafa Torres there in P3. We had some fireworks last week during the race. Rafa and a couple other drivers getting into it a little bit, but all is calm and we're back on track. The best thing you can do as a driver if you have a bad race or you have some contact or something like that is to get back on the track, and that's what they're doing here tonight. Darren's running in P4. I can see Steve there back in the back of that picture. Trace Hance. I don't think Trace was here last week. Maybe not for a couple weeks, but good to have him back in the series. Colin Kortanik sitting on pit lane in P6. Had a bit of a miserable qualifying last race, but looks like he's back on it in this one. Brian Kennedy currently in P7. Joseph Katrides in P8. Yakov Bielek, he's back here. He was back here last week, I think, maybe the week before, and he's running that crafting for a Cure.ca car, one of the Team Gasburn drivers. And another Team Gasburn driver not out here tonight is Peter Lanik. I think he's... might be on the beach or something like that from deciphering what he said. Something like on the beach, and he was going to watch this at some point in time. Dean Thuline there in P10 currently with about 6.5 minutes left in qualifying. Peter Yerksik coming off the pit lane there. Brian Hare in front of him. Scott Kim, our admin, is heading through the Andretti hairpin there. It's a double apex corner there, that hairpin. And you can kind of use some different lines in that corner as Scott drops a tire, but I think that's all good. Scott had a really great run at Sebring, and we got a good interview. Didn't quite make the podium, but a great qualifying position for him, and he ended up in 4th position. Bobby Blankenship back here in 15th. Steve Conlon. This is a name I have not seen before, so he's in P15. So welcome here to Steve. Sorry, did I say Steve? It's Sean here, Conlon. Welcome to him to the series. We've got a Dean fan out there. Dean was in the P10 position, showing Dean a little bit. Anybody that's watching, make sure to engage in the chat. Let me know who you're supporting, and I tend to focus on the camera on the drivers that have support in the chat, so make sure to do that. We got John Wood back in P16, Sten Cellier, Beltway Brewing Company car there in P17. So Sten's got a little bit of work to do. Really tight field here tonight. Oh, Sten throws it off. That was at, let me check my corner numbers, at turn 6, heading on to, he comes back onto the Rahal straight there. Heard another car hitting the wall back there too. Matthew Stover there in P17, or sorry, P18. Michael Bond in P19. Stephen Tenney, P20. Robert Benson in P21. And rounding out our current provisional grid is Tim Bradford. So we're going to have to go through the grid pretty quick tonight with the standing start. So I'll probably start that nearing the end of qualifying. We got 4 minutes left in qualifying here. We'll get about a minute and a half for anybody to set their flying laps. And there we go, Peter Lanik engaging in the chat there. Peter, are you out there on the beach or something? I think that's what I read. As Hill navigates through the corkscrew there, kicking up some dirt on the apex. Fikachi is only 8, and he goes off. That's not going to count. Oh, he's losing it right out of turn. I'm going to memorize these. Turn 6 here tonight onto the Rahal straight. No, it's Rahal straight, but I lose track of my corner numbers here. So that one's not going to count, but he's only 0.08 of a second off of Hill there. Really close here at the front of the field. This turn 1 is going to have a lot of fireworks here tonight. This is Rafa's heading into turn 1 right now. The hairpin, this double apex is going to be really slow, and we saw a car go off in the background there. I think that was Cortanic back there. Yes, it was. So we got Lanik is going to be supporting Colin and Mike out here. Team Gasburn fellows there. As we have 2.5 minutes in qualifying with Yerxa, and I think that was Bradford. Was that Bradford? No, it wasn't Bradford. It was Tenney there going into the hairpin. It's a good week to take a vacation. Hopefully, I don't want to jinx you there, Peter, but hopefully you don't go home and have any leaky pipes or anything like that. I've got several friends all around the country that have no water or no power, or one of them, their ceiling is leaking from an ice dam in their gutters. So, yeah. A couple of years ago, I was in Vegas, and I have some exterior cameras on my house, and I see that the road is flooding in front of my house. Unfortunately, a neighbor had a water main break in their front yard, so glad it wasn't mine while I was on vacation. So about a minute left in qualifying. Hill currently at the top. We'll see what Fikachi is going to have to deal with some lap traffic here. Gonna want to get around this and then see if he can put in one flying lap at the end. Maybe he's going to slow up a little bit. Let's go on board with Steve here. Yeah, he's setting up for one more flyer here, giving enough gap there. We're going to go on board. It's gonna punch it out of the final corner there. Across the start-finish line. This little curve, little kink there, is turn 1, and then this turn 2 is the hairpin, this double apex. It is considered one corner. Andretti hairpin on to turn 3 now. Got a slow car ahead. They wisely stay off. Another fast right-hander, turn 4. This little kink in the track isn't considered a corner number here. Turn 5 here, left-hander. Up the hill we go. Qualifying has ended, so this will be the only hills currently provisional pole sitter. Turn 6 here on to the Rahal straight. Coming up to the corkscrew, which this little curve there is turn 7, and then we have a turn 8, and then 8A. Whoa, and then Steve loses the rear end, and that is game over for the qualifying here. Tough break. We weren't able to complete a lap there, unfortunately. So with that said, let's go ahead. Treakle there, currently still on the track. Yeah, I've got my sim rig in my basement here, so if my basement ever flooded, my sim rig will be okay. It certainly will not float. It's definitely a boat anchor. So Darren's there is done. Rafa goes by. We are done with qualifying here, so I'm just going to go through the grid here because we're going to have a possibly a short wait for the grid with the standing start coming up. All right, so we've got Christopher Hill, P1 at a minute 20.216, followed by Steve Ficacci in P2, Rafa Torres in P3, Darren Treakle in P4, Trace Hance P5, Colin Kortanek in P6, Joseph Katrides in P7, Brian Kennedy in P8, Yakov Bielik in P9, Dean Thuline in P10, Peter Yerksa in P11, Brian Hare P12. Heading to what would this be? Row 7, Scott Kim, our admin in here in the series. Bobby Blankenship in P14. Sean Conlon. That's the second time I've said Steve Conlon. Sorry there, Sean. John Wood in P16. Sten Cellier, P17. Matthew Stover in 18th. Michael Bond, Steven Tenney, P20. Robert Benson, and Tim Bradford routing up the field. So here we go. We're about to get this thing set up. Yep, this is going to be pretty interesting. Okay, we're not doing a standing start. We're going to be doing a rolling start. We got the Mustang out here. Maybe some final moment here changing, because I could have sworn it was going to be a standing start. Maybe there was some discussion that we didn't want to have a standing start into that hairpin. I don't know. I don't know what I'd want. One of my own leagues that I run, we run the Indy cars, of course. Everybody knows that I run a bunch of Indy cars, but we're going to have a vote about the doing standing starts here coming up. I'm definitely going to be voting for them. So we're going to be setting up for a 30-minute race as everybody grids here. And we're going to be, doing 25, 30 laps here tonight. Looks like Hendrick's out there in the chat as well. Good to see him. Unfortunately, not on the track here today. Maybe Hendrick's trying to get that promo code over at the Beltway Brewing Company. The promo code BMW Go Fast to receive 10% off your first order. I don't think you can consider that a first order though, Hendrick. So give Beltway a follow also at Beltway Brew Co. on Twitter, probably on the Facebook as well, as the pace car pulls away. This is going to be a really short pace lap here, so it's a good thing we ran through the grid already. Pace car already ducks in. Christopher Hill is going to bring us down. And we have green flag already. Steve Ficacci on the outside. Rafa Torres right on the bumper of Christopher Hill. And let's see if we can make it through turn one without any contact here this week. So far, so good. Everybody is pretty good here through here. So far, so good. Great job to the field there. Hill leads. Ficacci in P2 under pressure from Rafa Torres there. And now they head up the hill for the first time. That's correct. Beltway Brewing Company. BMW Go Fast promo code. 10% off your first order. Onto the Ray Hall straight. Hill's about to navigate up to the corkscrew for the first time tonight in racing conditions. Everybody's going, so a little bit of checkup there. Not sure exactly who that was. Oh, we got one car off. That looks like Stover back here. I'm showing Yerxa out. Stephen Tenney, a little bit of issue there. And Hill will lead our first lap here tonight. Ficacci right on him, though. Really tight battle here into the Andretti hairpin. I'm going to repeat saying that over and over tonight. Up to the blimp. Just try to see if we got some cool camera angles here out here tonight. So Collins maintained his position there in P6. Everybody seems to kind of maintain their positions here. I'm looking through the field here to see what we got here. John Wood is only a couple tenths back on Scott Kim as they head up the Ray Hall straight up to the hairpin into the corkscrew. Oh, a little bit of a tap there onto the admin there. From John Wood as Sean Conlon makes a move and gets around John Wood after that checkup from Wood getting into the bumper there. Heading back up to near the front of the field, we got top 5 cars within 2 seconds of one another. It's really difficult to make a pass here at this track. Oh, as Rafa there didn't look too bad. He did... as I mentioned earlier in the race, that Andretti hairpin, that first corner, as Ficacci goes wide there into the dirt. Not so bad going to the dirt here compared to, say, going into the grass. But that Andretti hairpin, you can take different lines through and not really lose as much time as you might take by missing the apex in some other tracks. You can really hear that, you might hear this weird flutter of the engine at times. That's the traction control of these cars. It's doing some extra work here tonight on this kind of flowing course with fast corners. Dean Thuline's working on Bobby Blankenship. So Blankenship's up 4 spots from 14th. Dean here only 4 tenths back from Bobby. As Rafa, so you can see, like I was mentioning earlier, Rafa a little bit different line there through the hairpin. He gets a little bit of oversteer coming out of the corner, as the NASCAR guys would call it, a little bit loose out of that corner. Ficacci's about a second back from the leader, Chris Hill there, so Hill's starting to just gap a little bit here. really comparative lap times for everybody, though. Everybody in the top 5 positions done a minute 20 lap last lap. Robert Benson is up to 14th from 21st there. Oh, as we had, who is that? Michael Bond getting out of shape. I think that was turn 6. Yeah, that is turn 6. Really slow. You end up, actually it was out of turn 5. That was turn 6 there, so. Stover is right on as Benson, and he looks inside of Benson. That was at turn 10. He's just letting Benson know that he's there, is Matthew Stover. I think Stover wants to make a move here, hard under the brakes, right on the bumper of Benson. Scott Kim, unfortunately, he's dropped back to 19th position, struggling out here tonight. And I can see he's got a little bit of damage on that front end of his car. Stover working on Benson. I feel like Stover's quite a bit faster. He's going to try to make this work into turn 6. Thinks better of it. Keeping an eye on, don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on the battle at the front of the field if anything happens there. Heading up to the corkscrew, top of the hill. Benson has a really bad entry into that corner. Let's see if Stover can take advantage. Stover is going to, oh, we have a little bit of contact. Both cars off there. As Bradford is coming up on this as well. He had a check up there, but Stover makes that pass. Nice battle. We got Sten Sellier up here as well in this, so he had hasn't moved up or moved back. It's that Beltway Brewing Company car. Tim Bradford, it goes really wide in the corner, and Sten is going to make a position there. There we go. Let's head back on up to the front of the field just to keep an eye. Oh, as Ficacci makes a mistake at the corkscrew. No commentator curse happening there because that happened before I've ever put him on the camera. So Rafa there takes over P2. Meanwhile, Christopher Hill, our leader, has gapped a couple seconds up the track. Only about a second and a half now, though. Michael Bond is in the pit lane. So Ficacci's a little bit faster than Rafa there, so this might be an interesting battle to watch. As he has to get back around him. Just talking about what I'm saying, who's faster, it's like whose last laps was faster, whose best laps were faster. Dean Thuline coming up on Bobby Blankenship here. Bobby is up 5 spots to P9 there, so really good run for Bobby. Oh, we've got really tight battle back here. I don't even know. We got Sten, we had Bradford and Conlon there. And Conlon's working on, he's going to go inside of Bradford into, that is turn 5. And he's going to make that work. Trace Hance falling through the field. He was he's in 9th. He was up. He was at 5th. He started 5th at one point and was just hanging out there. So he must have made a mistake. Yeah, his last lap, 9 seconds off the pace. So he had a moment there. Looks like everything's pointed straight now, though, but Blankenship is going to move up into that 8th spot, so we'll have to see if Hans can make it back through the field here. That last lap, Rafa there with about a couple 2/10 faster than our leader, Hill, up there. A battle of East Coast versus West Coast BMW Performance Pros here between Hill and Torres. Rafa there came on strong at the end of the season here. Hill had a string of victories, but Rafa taking 2 victories in the last couple races, the last few races, that is. Kortanek in a battle with Kennedy there. Kortanek gets by in 5th position. Also a good battle back, way back in P17. Oh, as Bradford loops it. That was the battle I was saying was close. No longer close. So Kortanek ahead of Kennedy. Really frantic, about 12 minutes in the race here. A lot of action all over this track. Now at the front, Ficacci is gaining ground on Rafa here. Yeah, Rafa had a couple laps where he was faster than Ficacci there, but Ficacci's right on his bumper now, and we'll see what he can do. These cars don't really get, and I see Darren back there, Treakle, getting a little bit really wide back there in that corner, and Kortanek is going to see if he can take advantage of that. Looking through the field if there's anything else. Sten Selye battling with Thuline here. There was something going on there. Dean there dropping back to 18th from starting 10th, so that's what I was seeing as positions being exchanged. Conlon there off the track in the final corner. Sten's going to make up a position there. I see a little bit of damage on the front of Sten's car. Several other cars I also saw had some damage as well, but Sten's now up to P16 there. Heading back up to the front, Ficacci just got around. Let's get a replay on that. That's podium position there. So you had already made that position here. Okay, so it's coming up. See what happens. Does Rafa make a mistake or something for this P2 spot? Ficacci is going to make a pass here. Does he make a mistake at turn 6? Or does he make it work at the corkscrew? Oh, I see Rafa had a moment coming out of turn 6 onto the Rahal straight, and Ficacci made it around. Ficacci coming up on lap traffic there. That is Tim Bradford there, the lapped car. Did the wise thing and kind of got out of the way there. So we'll do a quick shout out to our sponsors here. We've got Beltway Brewing Company, so this is where you guys want to listen for this promo code. Thirsty for an award-winning local craft beer? Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV. From award-winning IPAs to sours, traditional styles, and even handcrafted seltzers, Beltway has something for everyone. Order directly from beltwaybrewco.com for contact-free delivery right to your door, or swing by for a contactless pickup from their top tap room. So use the promo code. It is all one word, BMW Go Fast, to receive 10% off your first order. And of course, give Beltway a follow at Beltway Brew Co. on their social media. And we've also got the Hagerty and Treakle Insurance, so sponsors making this broadcast possible for you guys out there. So Treakle Insurance is an independent insurance agency offering auto, home, business, and life insurance. They teamed up with Hagerty Insurance to provide collector car coverage as well as race car and track day coverage. So that's paying the bills here. Let's get back to the racing. Scott Kim coming up on Stover. Oh, and we got a contact there. Right when I went to... Oh, and Scott's looping it here. We want to appreciate that I have him on the camera. Let's get a replay of this here. Maybe we just go on board with it. Oh. Scott's got a little bit of blinky internet here tonight. That's what happens. Oh, he really missed out on that braking zone right there, did Scott. So yeah, that was a tough one. Let's take this back. Live pictures. Scott's having some internet issues because nobody else is blinking quite like that. Looking through the field for tight battles here. Sean Conlon is... Okay, Brian Hare. About 6/10 off of John Wood. Hare started 12th. Where did John Wood start at 16th? So Hare is a little bit quicker. We'll go on board with him as requested out there. And it looks like Hare is going to have a really good run here. Up the hill here now. This is going to be turn 6. John Wood, the car ahead. Going to be heading up. This was the Ray Hall straight up to the corkscrew. Really got to be careful not to lock up. I mean, these cars, no, they don't have ABS brakes. I was about to say they had ABS brakes, but you can really lock up the rear brakes on these cars at that corner because the whole shifting of kind of the elevation of the corner and the elevation of the straightaway. So we got 10 laps to go, estimating. John Wood up there, locks up his front tires. Gives Brian Hare a moment to gain some ground on him. Let's just go on board and I'll crank up the sound for you guys. How about that? And I won't say anything. Yeah, there's a battle developing there between Trace Hance and Getrides, and Hance gets around him. Get a replay of that one. Hance gaining a lot of ground into the corkscrew here over Getrides, and then he looks on the outside. Maybe gives him a little bit of a bump in the rear, and Trace Hance makes a move there. Good move there by Trace. Heading back to live pictures. Dean Thuline also coming back through the field back here too. He's caught up. Sten Cellier ahead of him in P14. Thuline appears to be faster, so we'll see how this battle goes. A little bit of damage on the front of Dean's car, but also some damage on Sten's. Oh, and Sten locked up his brakes just a little bit into the hairpin there, but did not throw it quite off the track. You can certainly lock up your tire. Oh, he goes wide, and Thuline's going to take over that P14 position from Sten Cellier. Sten tries to come back, though. Thought about it. Looks like we've got a couple cars out. Michael Bond and Peter Yerkes out of the race. I don't think Yerkes actually started the race. Oh, and we have Thuline overshoots the hairpin, and Cellier is going to make that position back, and he's going to have quite a bit of a gap behind him now. No worries there for him. Let's head back up to the front. Our field is coming up on lap traffic here. Rafa there in P3, about a second back from Steve Ficacci there, as Ficacci's working on one of the lap cars there. Ficacci gets around the lap car. The lap car is a little bit too nice there, and goes off, letting also, and loops it back there. Letting Rafa go as well. Just looking through my chart here, my leaderboard, to see if there's anything tighter than this one. Not seeing anything too close. Hance has Kennedy about 8 seconds up the track. Fastest lap of the race. Let's at least show our leader here hanging out on his own. He's coming up on Robert Benson. Of course, earlier this season, I believe it was at Indianapolis road course, Hill was leading and he had some issues with the lapped car. Ended up taking a little flight, if I recall correctly. So you never, even if you have a nice gap, especially at a track like this where they get up to the lap traffic really quickly, only about a minute 20 lap, you know, you're going to have to deal with a lot of lap traffic, and anything can happen. Ficacci's trying to get around Benson now. Benson gets out of the way, but then Rafa's kind of getting held up here. Oh, and Sten tries to make a move on Benson there. That was actually for position there, that move that you guys saw there. Sten there taking some advantage of the lap traffic. Nothing wrong with that. Kennedy here as a Bielik. Is that, yeah, that's Bielik. Actually, it wasn't Bielik. That was Stover. Yeah, Kennedy just getting around Stover there. But Kennedy's only about a second back from Kortanek. Kortanek's right there. Kortanek is about 15 seconds back, but Brian Kennedy is within a second or so. This is the closest battle on the track. With that said, though, Bielik and Bobby Blankenship is also a pretty close one. Sten is got 25 seconds ahead is John Wood, so that's not going to be for position. But Robert Benson back here, well, he's dropping back about 2 seconds now. So Sten's kind of running around on his own right now, waiting for other people to make mistakes ahead of him, and maybe take advantage of it then. As we have about 5 laps to go in this one here. I don't know if we're actually going to get to 5 laps to go, though. We might be 4 laps to go. With the timing, we've got 4.5 minutes to go is what it is. It'll be 4 laps plus, or maybe it's 4 laps plus whenever they cross the start-finish. Bielik is catching up to... Got action going around all over the place here tonight. It's good to have Yakov back in the race here, though. He had to miss a few races earlier this season. Brian Harris still working on Kortanek here for that 5th position spot, and now he's just brought it within 0.7 of a second. Go on board with Brian Kennedy here. 0.6 of a second. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. Follow us at Raceverse on Twitter. Really close battle between Kennedy and Kortanek here. 0.6 of a second between them. That's the closest battle on the track. Looks like Bielik dropped back there. I'm just looking at the timing. I think these drivers are struggling with some tire grip at this point. I could hear that from Kennedy's car. As we are 3 laps to go here. I think we'll get our full 3 laps. This hill heads to the top of the hill. This is one of Christopher Hill's home tracks a bit, because he's out here in Club California. Kennedy within right on the bumper of Kortanek now, as they head up the hill. Through turn 6. Oh, and Kennedy throws it off a little bit there. That's going to drop him back. So final race of the season. Kennedy makes another mistake there. Hill is our champion in this season. He secured that a couple races ago, really, so it hasn't been much of a battle, but good battle here throughout the field. It looks like Conlon back there in P15 is about a half second back from Benson. Conlon's got a little bit of damage on that front bumper, but just about everybody has something similar out here tonight. Two laps to go for Hill. So final race of the season. We will be back next season, though. I'd have to look at the schedule. We'll be back. Let me see if I can pull it up here. We will be back on March 11th for the race at Virginia International Raceway as Conlon gets around Benson there. That was for position. Oh, as Conlon throws it off. Benson just retakes that position there. Smart racing there by Benson, keeping it on the track, letting everybody else throw it off the track. So we're gonna be running the BMW M4 GT3 in that season. Yeah. So Summit Point will be the week before that, March 4th. That won't be broadcasted here. Every couple weeks will be broadcasted here on Race First. So Race 2 will be broadcast, and then Race 4, basically the even number races, will be broadcast. This is the final lap for Hill. Dominating performance here. Once again, it's sort of a familiar thing, but we've had some good battles through the field here. And he didn't exactly dominate this one. He's only 3.5 seconds up the track. Yeah, thanks everyone for checking out the broadcast. I think this is our biggest numbers viewers we've had. And I always like talking to you guys out there during the races. Love the engagement, so really appreciate everybody out there. Talking to you during the races and let me know who to follow, and especially like when I miss something. Of course, check out Treakle Insurance, check out Beltway Brewing Company as Hill takes the win. Fikachi comes home in P2. Rafa there in P3 will be getting an interview with these top 3 podium contenders. Treakle's going to come by in 4th. Cortanix looks like he's going to survive into P5 after Kennedy had that mistake. Stenz finished the race as well. Beltway Brewing Company car. And somewhere here we might have some pile-ups or something like that after the race. I don't know where it's going to happen. Not yet. Yeah, well, let's be right back, and we'll do our podium interviews. All right, well, usually everybody's in the chat, so it's really easy to pull them up here. Making sure everything is correct. And I do not see Chris, and there he is. He's just coming in. I'll give him one moment here. Hey, Chris. Do I have a copy there?
I think so.
Okay. I know you just came in. You just launched the Discord or something, or just joined the chat. So I did give you a few seconds. But great run here tonight. I think I said Hill heads up the hill several times here tonight to the corkscrew. But it was it was still a tight race. Like, you led every lap, but you were only 3 or 4 seconds ahead. You had the fastest lap, but Steve was within striking distance if you made a mistake. Otherwise, tell me about your race.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I couldn't take a breath anywhere through the race there. If I there was 1 or 2 points where I started to see the gap increase, and I was like, okay, maybe I can maybe back it down a notch or two to try to just keep a little safety margin there. And sure enough, as soon as I did that, then I look up and there's Steve or Raf putting the pressure on and starting to close the gap again, or keep the gap about the same. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to keep going here. So it was a super fun race, though. I mean, I know it wasn't probably the most entertaining to watch the battle necessarily, but from my standpoint, it was a lot of work there, just trying to make sure that Steve didn't get close enough to give me a run for it. And especially the couple times we had the lap traffic and the spins and that kind of randomness happening in front of me. Had a couple close calls there, but everybody was very courteous. But obviously, we had to, had the moment coming out of the corkscrew that one lap that was a little heart stopping for a second there. So
Yeah, and obviously it was, I think, Indianapolis Road where you had that one issue with the lap traffic. So we were keeping an eye on it. But really good run. You're the champion of the season. We kind of already knew that, though, coming into this one. I think you secured the championship 2 or 3 races ago. But I think you've got some competition here for next season, and from Steve and the other guys here like Darren and Rafa and. Trace was up there in P5 for a bit. I think he threw it off at some point in time, but he ended up in 8th. But next season, we're going to be running the M4 GT3. Have you driven those much? I mean, you probably have.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my favorite cars. I've been running it. I use it anytime I do the VRS stuff for the most part, even though I think the Audi is supposed to be a little quicker, but still I use that as much as I can. And then there's also another BMW CCA league, which I've been playing around with that has that. So yeah, I really enjoy that car, and the competition in this league has gotten better and better over the season, and it's quite noticeable. I mean, I remember the first handful of races, I'd show up and it was really not a lot of work other than 1 or 2 guys. And now the pack is getting bigger and bigger at the front and tighter, and that's cool. I enjoy that. That's yeah, it's enjoyable to win, but it's more enjoyable to battle. So.
Yeah, it's really good to see the league, just like from the broadcaster perspective, how much this league has grown. Because I think when I came in, maybe there were 13 to 15 cars, and now we're up to 22 just about every race. So it's Scott's doing a great job organizing this whole thing. So
for sure, yeah, it's definitely a great league, super well organized and super fun, and looking forward to more upcoming adventures. So yeah.
All right, well, great race today, and good run this season there, Chris, and we'll catch you next season.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks so much for doing the broadcast. It's awesome to be able to share it with friends and family, and have a nice professional quality broadcast going too. So thanks so much for that, what you do on that part of it. So
no problem. I appreciate I appreciate it. So yeah, you take care.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
See you next season.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Well, let's see. Who do we else? Who do we have? We have a Steve up here. Hey, Steve. Matt up here in the booth. Good run today. You started second. Didn't quite have it. For Chris up there, Rafa got by you at one point, but you were able to get back by him.
Yeah, I think I had good pace, and the tires the first few laps just seemed to have like a little something extra. And I wasn't prepared when it went away, and I made a bunch of mistakes on one lap, and I got real squirrely heading into the corkscrew, which could have ended a whole lot worse, but turned out not to be, no damage. So I just lost the position, lost a little bit of time to Chris. Rafa made a mistake. I got back by him, and then I really put in some nice laps, and I shortened the gap a bunch to Chris. And then we hit some traffic, and 1 or 2 of them held me up just too much. I didn't have a pace advantage, I don't think, on them, if at all. So it was a very close race. It would have just kind of back and forth with the traffic as what I was hoping for, but it just never came.
Yeah, you never know if you could force them into a mistake or something with that traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
you
just closer.
Be fortunate. I was just hoping to be fortunate, but it seemed like the first few cars were all very close in pace. There wasn't a lot. It was just a matter of not making the mistakes. And Chris didn't make any.
The fastest laps for the first, so everybody had like a 120.4, top 3 drivers.
Wow.
Darren back there with a minute 20.7, so really tight through the field. Trace had an issue. He had a minute 20.8, and he finished 8th, but he's pretty quick here too. So next season, we're going to be running, switching over to the M4 GT3. Have you driven those cars much, or?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well,
like I said, I drive mostly Skip Barbers, MX-5 kind of stuff.
Okay.
It hurt me a little bit here just because of the line's different. You can drive with 2 tires in the dirt a little bit with those cars, where it's dangerous with this car. So, but no, I really don't have a lot of time in GT cars. So, that car's new to me.
Job. I might have said this last week when we talked, but I'm usually an IndyCar guy, and I can't drive GT cars at all. I did come in last season and this season, actually, before I was broadcasting, and I ran the Belle Isle race, and I qualified 3rd, I think, but I just didn't have the race pace for it. But Yeah, it's always an interesting
Slower-
experience
I was
with
gonna
GTs.
What I like about the slow cars is I can kind of drive them with the throttle and be aggressive. Where I feel like with these cars, when I do try to push, you push just a tiny bit over the edge, and you get punished. So it's just a different kind of mentality I need to have, which I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning.
these cars are just so. For me, it's like they're so heavy. Is what I.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Even
That's
though
exactly
it's
it.
not like driving a NASCAR or something like that, but
Yeah.
they still feel quite heavy. So anyway, good run here tonight. You made it interesting for us on the broadcast, and that's always good. And any shout outs to sponsors? Anybody watching out there for you?
Sure. Well, I'll thank my wife for letting me have all this time, and
Sounds good.
the guys over at VRG and Rick's Flicks.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you next season, or hope to see you next season, and good luck.
Yeah, sure will.
Good luck over there with the skippies and all those other things you do.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right, so Rafa there is going to be our final contender here. Is he in the chat? Okay, there he is. Hey, Rafa. Matt up here in the booth. Do I have a copy?
Copy.
How's it going? Finished P3. You started P3, so maybe it wasn't the most exciting thing, but I bet it was, because this is a pretty exciting track to just drive around. And that battle there with Steve was a pretty good one.
Nah, man, I hate this track in real life. iRacing. It needs to be repaved, more grip, and a couple of corners, like open up those corners. But yeah, it was kind of lame race.
Mm-hmm.
Not much. No excitement except when somebody just spun in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I could end up badly. I kind of like settled in third place. Started thinking about the points for the championship because I had an uphill battle on the championship points.
Yeah, I think, let me look at those.
I was in the bottom 10 because of all the GPU issues that I had in the missed races.
So let me look. I don't think that you were able to get past Darren.
Yeah.
It was really close, but I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to have Scott post those points. You were third in points. You had a strong end of the season here with those 2 wins that you had, though. So really good run there. So we're going to be switching over to the BMW GT3s for next season. Any thoughts going over to those cars?
I mean, the change is
M4
welcome.
GT3, yeah.
Beg your pardon?
I was saying it was the M4 GT3 is what we're going to be switching over to, the new one.
Yeah. We raced that one in the other league, and I mean the change is welcome. It's a different car.
Mm-hmm.
It responds differently than the M8. The M8, it's all about not locking up those tires, so it keeps you on your toes, makes you sweat in a long race like this for sure. But I like it. I mean, I welcome the change, and like when we did the Z4s back in the day, I was like, yeah, go for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was a pretty big fan of those the Z4 cars. Just the M8 here feels really heavy to me. The Z4 I feel a little bit, it's a little bit more nimble. I haven't driven the M4 that much, so I don't know how exactly it is, but I would assume that it may be a little bit more nimble than the M8.
So based on what I've seen is the new M4 GT3, it's about 3 seconds slower than the M8. I mean, it has less power and less aero than the M8 does the classing, but still a very capable, fast car.
Yep. Maybe it's slower down the straightaways, but I don't know, faster in the corners or something like that. I don't know.
It's just a little bit of everything, a little bit of less grip, mechanical grip, less aero grip, and less straightaway speed.
Well, we'll be broadcasting the even numbered races in that one. So the race season will start with Summit Point. I won't be broadcasting that one, but at VIR we'll be broadcasting there, and then the subsequent even numbered races. So look forward to seeing you next season there, Rafa. And this is another good season for you here in this. broadcast 2 seasons now, and it's always good seeing you up there at the top.
Yeah, thank you for doing this, and I hope I see you on the next one. I hope I'll be here. Mm-hmm. And if anybody's out there listening, if you guys want to go drive the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife in real life, hit me on a private message. I got a couple open seats available with the BMW driving school.
I did see that you were doing that. I'm too scared to even run it in the Sims, so.
Don't worry, we divide it into segments, and you learn it on segments before we let you drive it.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place to do. So yeah, you would have to do that, I would assume. Yeah.
And with iRacing training, I mean, it should be pretty simple. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. Just send me a text. Let me know.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else watching in the league here also up for that? You might want to shout that out. I know you said it like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Shout it out again.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. You get to drive the M4s on the Nordschleife. It's pretty fun.
Sounds good. Well, you take care there, Rafa, and we'll see you next season.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. All right, that's it for us here tonight. Just one final shout out and just a thank you to everybody here on this series for having Raceverse broadcast. This is a really fun one. I look forward to this one every week. Honestly, it ends up being an easy broadcast for me. They make it exciting, really easy, and we got these awesome sponsors. Let's do a final shout out to these great sponsors that we have in the series here. So that's Darren Treakle's company, teamed up with Hagerty Insurance, and I'll read off the exact copy. Treakle Insurance is an independent insurance agency offering auto, home, business, and life insurance. They teamed up with Hagerty Insurance to provide collector car coverage as well as race car and track date coverage. So check them out. And then, of course, as well, you want to go over to Beltway Brewing Company and check them out. We've got this promo code, and the copy reads as thirsty for an award-winning local craft beer. Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV. From award-winning IPAs to sours, traditional styles, and even craft hard seltzers, Beltway has something for everyone. Order directly from BeltwayBrewingCompany.com for contact-free delivery right to your door, or swing by for contactless pick up from their tap room. And here is the promo code: BMW Go Fast, all one word, BMW Go Fast, to receive 10% off your first order. And also check them out on the social medias at BeltwayBrewCo.com. So thanks again to Scott Kim for having us broadcast this. Wasn't in this season, but Dave Fitzgerald, shout out to him for finding us Raceverse in the first place and giving us the nod over to Scott. And thanks to BMW Car Club National Capital Chapter, everybody out there watching here tonight. Really enjoy interacting with everybody. So you take care. We'll see you next season, March 11th.